I'm Rick Harsh, Chief Editor of Corona Samizdat, also a writer. And lately, I've been thinking a lot about the new breed of writer, the young writers publishing their first novels. These two are the most recent. This one came out over a year ago. This is called Cynicism Management. Cover came out a little too dark. We have Oscar Submerges by Zachary Tanner. And we have the America and the Cult of the Cactus Boots, a diagnostic. And these are all first novels. And that makes me very happy because that's what I want to do with my press more than anything. I would like, I really do want to publish as fine a literature as I can find. And we've been able to get some of the older people, like me and David Vardaman, published. Bill Clark is not as old as us, but I think he's getting there. Jeff Bursey is also getting there. Chandler Broussard is unfortunately deceased, but we're bringing his books out. We're bringing another one out sometime this spring, probably. And that's we've got a great bunch of books, and we're very happy about it. But the one thing that I'd like to be able to do, by the way, this is also, this is not in the category of books I want to talk about right now, but this is as good an example as you can get of a second novel, a novelist who's not known yet in the writing world at large, but is going to be. And so anyway, what I want to do is talk about these 5 books that I mentioned, these first novels that are probably all, one way or another, unfit for New York, but fit to be published. And now, of course, I didn't know that until I read Purple West, because I had read and actually, frankly, I'm on Oscar Submerges. I'm in the middle of an orgy on page 236, and it's really going great. Fuck the scherzo foreplay. O mare facunditatis. Anyway, it's really, this is a great book so far, and I can't imagine it getting worse. Stephen Moore liked it, and I'm going to agree with him about that. But all of these books seem to fit in a category the way that noir tends to fit into a category. They're not detective novels. These aren't genre novels, but they are all written by people who are very disturbed at the way that technology is interacting with capitalism in such a way that it's more or less destroying the humane aspects of civilization, or preventing a recovery of humanity from all the way back to colonialization. And I guess I should start with this one because I just finished it. This is in the same category as the others in that it's somewhat in the future. All these books are set in the future, one way or another, and that's so that they can discuss new technologies. And basically, they're most of them. Maybe not. That's not the case in Oscar Submerges, which goes as far ahead as I think it's 2090 something. But the others are all in the near future, or in actually, cynicism management is sort of a, I mean, it could be a current novel, but it has the same aspects of the other. There are, like with noir, you have a formula, but it's a formula that allows a lot of different kinds of writing. For instance, in our let's call it technological night books. In technological night books, you have a world going to pieces because of corruptions that are endemic to the capitalist world, and then they provide avenues for greed to swoop in and wreak havoc. This book is written at about 173 kilometers per hour. No, miles per hour, I think. It's a fast book. It's a fast book that takes the time when it wants to describe something in a unique way. There's a lot of moments of good description, but there aren't as many as in a slower book. This is driving in the hills of this techno world, and it has the same fears as this one has. The fears that we will not be able to be humans anymore. We will not be able to use language anymore. And we will not be able to think anymore. Both of these books do that. Orbo is new, so I guess what I want to say about Orbo is that it's got a slower pace, and the language is more poetic. It's funnier, and this one here is, you can tell that this guy is capable of writing poetic literature, but in this book he's interested in a car wreck. A car wreck is happening. The novel is a car wreck in the making, and there's one passage that is really pretty amazing in that it's about 60 pages. These aren't giant pages, but they're pages, and they have lots of words on them, and that it goes about 50 to 60 pages, one cab ride, and throughout the whole thing he has to imagine. It's in an imagined city, so he has to imagine everything in the city, and it's pretty. It's the kind of book that you can just get absorbed in and fly right through without noticing what it requires to construct a book like this. I highly recommend this book, partly because of the spine. I love that spine, and the back. But that's well, where was I in this? I've been thinking for days about this, and what makes all these books come together. And this one here, you are being spoken to by Zach Tanner's narrator, and you can't help but think this is Zach. Especially if you know Zach. If you know Zach, you're thinking, this is him. This is him. I don't know if it is. I don't know to what degree it is. But it is that you get that kind of familiarity. And so that all of his thoughts are engaging, and the as opposed to a book like Orbo, which is pleasing on a sentence by sentence level, this one is pleasing on a paragraph by paragraph level. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned about these, I hinted at it, I guess, with Orbo, is that at times it's funny, but these are the two that are the funniest, and they just happen to be the fattest. No, Orbo is not as many pages, but it's a big book. This is also a big book. The main corporation is called Omnipile, which I think is hilarious, and it's about a bunch of people in a band, and a bunch of nobodies who come to Slovenia of all places, and they have to defeat the mighty Omnipile. And then, of course, you have the Cactus book, which a lot has already been said about, so I won't go into it too much. It is probably, one thing that this, somebody posted this today on Instagram, a word tunnel, fantastic drawing and extremely meaningful. But the same notions guide all of the concerns of all of these writers. And so something is happening in the literary world. I don't know. I guess this is the one that's really capturing people's imaginations the most. But I don't think anyone's going to pick this up, read it, and say, "Nah." It's going to grip them. I think this guy also, people will fall in love with his language. In this one, you'll fall in love with a very old man, and that's one of the interesting things about the characters in all of these. Here, this is pretty conventional. You have a bunch of guys, not all guys. There are a couple of women too. Who form a band. One in the band, I think, is a woman, but doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of regular folk who are all odd, bunch of outsiders, and they're a charming bunch of losers, basically, and it's a funny book. Okay, there's a second story about it too that brings in terrorism, and but that's connected to Omnipile. All right. So I know I'm not being very wise, but I'm trying to get something across that I still haven't figured out how to process in my mind. This one, the characters, the main character is the narrator, and the next main character, the main other character, is an old man named Oscar. Okay, here there are not many men in this book. The main character is an Albanian who's migrated to the United States, Bushra Batal, and you may or may not realize at some point that almost everybody in the book is female. Orbo, I think the mix is pretty much, I guess about average, mix. There's men and women, both, but it's totally new world in fiction when this kind of thing is happening. And then finally here, the characters, well, there's too much to say because I'm running out of time. And I think that when you read this, you'll see that you've never come across characters